Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Rob from Heroes Avenue. In this video, we're going to be talking about Black Adam, how it's currently being received by both critics and the audience, and we're also going to be talking about a rumor from Grace Randolph regarding The Flash and a potential recast for the character. And lastly, we'll talk about where DC is moving forward, and specifically we're going to be talking about the Man of Steel. So before we get started, just want to thank everyone from the last video. It is good to be back making videos, and I haven't seen Black Adam yet because my son is sick. You might hear him in the background, but I do plan to see it this weekend, so I'm not going to really talk about my thoughts on it until after I see it, of course, or if Darren sees it first and feels like posting a video, he may jump on and make a video as well. But let's go ahead and look at what it's currently looking like on Rotten Tomatoes. And yes, I do want to remind everyone that Rotten Tomatoes isn't the end-all be-all in terms of how the movie should be received, but it is a good gauge. So currently, the critics are not liking this movie so much. Now, if you watched my last video, I talked about the early reactions, and they all seemed pretty positive because it's just an overall how you feel type of response for after you go see a movie. And generally people liked the action. They thought Dwayne and the supporting characters were pretty good, but now that full reviews are out, you can see that critics aren't liking it too much at 43% currently, but the audience says a different thing. Most of the audience at 88% seems to be really enjoying this movie. Now, again, I haven't seen it, so I'm gonna go ahead and judge for myself, but if you want to take a look at what the other scores are for other DC movies, this is kind of leading towards a trend of me probably liking this movie, because DC movies aren't really well received by critics, but I've really enjoyed a majority of the DC movies that are out there, especially the Zack Snyder movies, as you guys probably know. And I'm gonna go ahead and judge for myself. And again, while I haven't seen this movie yet, judging by what I've seen from the trailers, it does look like a generic superhero movie. Nothing special stood out to me when I watched this outside of the Hawkman character and Dr. Fate. To be honest, Atom Smasher, Cyclone, they didn't really blow me away, but I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised. But again, overall, it seemed like a generic superhero movie centered around this person, The Rock, who of course commands your attention on screen, but that's because he's just a charismatic person in general. And when I see the trailers, it looks like The Rock playing The Rock, and I think that's one of the criticisms people see in this movie. Again, going into it, you got to manage your expectations. At least that's how I go into movies. And I'm just hoping to enjoy a fun ride. And that's what it seems to be. That's the sentiment that a lot of fans are having, is it's a fun ride. You know, you're not going to go in getting the greatest story in the world. What you're going to go in to see is a fun, wild action ride with amazing effects and really bombastic fight scenes. And I'm all for that. A lot of Zack Snyder fans in particular, and I'm one of them, but a lot of Zack Snyder fans in particular go into this movie and are just looking for any sort of deviation from Zack Snyder's Justice League or Zack Snyder's timeline. But again, the way I'm thinking of it is, this is a different creative team that's creating this movie, and we fought so long for Zack to be able to express his own creativity and put his own vision out there, and it's very hypocritical for a lot of the fan base to kind of crap on this movie for making the creative choices that it does make, and not staying exactly consistent to a person who's largely outside of this universe right now. So that's my mindset on it. You know, obviously I do really enjoy the Snyderverse. I want it to come back. I want it to shape the future, and we'll see just how much of the future the past will shape. So what we have to do now is wait for the dust settle, see how fans react, see how it does box office wise, and I'm sure we'll get a clearer picture of what it means or what is to be expected moving forward. A little bit more on that towards the end of the video when we talk about the Man of Steel. But first, we have a huge topic to talk about in terms of The Flash. So the Flash movie, marred by its own circle of controversies. Obviously, the DCU as a whole has a ton of controversies on many different levels, but the Flash is its own beast, you know. And one of the things that we know going forward is that the movie will go ahead with Ezra Miller helping promote, but given his troubled recent past, it's not likely that he's going to be moving forward as the character in the future. And again, I'll wait to see how all of this plays out. It would be great for Ezra to continue to play the character, but he has a lot of work to do to win over the execs, the fans, and as of right now, if I was someone at the top, I likely wouldn't keep him going forward. That's just me. Even though personally, I would love to have him continue as the character, especially given how the reception of this movie in test audiences is really positive. It's going to be hard to keep such a wild card in the wing as the Flash. So again, hope for the best for him, and we'll hope the best for the future. But right now we have a rumor from, of course, Grace Randolph herself. She says, I also hear Warner Brothers Discovery wants George McKay to take over as the Flash. And there's a picture of George McKay right there. Just looking at him, definitely he has a good look about him. I think him as an actor, I've only seen him in one movie. That is from the 1917 movie by Sam Mendes. And Sam Mendes, I believe, was the director of my favorite James Bond movie in recent memory, Skyfall, I believe he was the director of. Yes, and 1917, that was a really great movie based on a true story. And this is where George McKay really, obviously he's the star of the movie, but I thought he did a great job in that movie. And I think if he was the person to replace Ezra Miller, I think it's going to be hard to capture Ezra Miller and the mannerisms that he put into this character. Sometimes it feels like Ezra Miller's playing Ezra Miller in this as the Flash, but it's going to obviously be super hard to capture that. So I think George McKay, if he did take on the role, he would put his own spin on the Flash, and I think they would just kind of move forward without even having to address a lot of these things. I think, sometimes we get these things in superhero movies where loved actors are replaced. One of the things that stands out most to me is like Edward Norton as the Hulk. I thought he was a much superior Hulk. His design was much more superior, and just his character is just something that I really enjoyed. And what we have now, it's okay, but it isn't something that really captivated me. I think George McKay can do that. A lot of the fan base was divided on Ezra Miller as a whole since his casting, since BVS. Maybe not since BVS, but since Zack Snyder's Justice League, or Justice League, the 2017 version. But I did think he shined in Zack Snyder's Justice League. I really enjoyed him. I would love to see him continue. But if George McKay is the person going forward, it's someone that I didn't expect, and I think it's a pretty cool casting. Yeah, I see it. Anyways, guys, let's move on to the last topic of today, moving forward. So, back onto the Black Adam situation. Spoilers, if you don't want to know anything about the movie at all, I'm sure you've heard it already, but I've given you the chance. Of course, we do know, and I've seen clips of it, or images of it, floating around on social media. The Man of Steel is going to be showing up. He's back in Black Adam in the post-credit scene. The Rock continues to say it. He posted audience reactions on his social media about Man of Steel showing back up. And of course, within the fandom, the discussion is less on Henry Cavill coming back, but more so this color of his suit. It's boggling my mind. People are so caught up in the color of his suit because of the continuity within Zack Snyder's Justice League. But again, they're nitpicking. These people, I'm deviating from that, kind of the Zack Snyder crowd on this, because I fought for his vision for the longest time. But man, seeing them nitpick about the suit instead of being hyped that he's back and that The Rock fought for 6 years along with his manager, Danny Garcia. For 6 years, they tried to get him back, and finally he's back. They had to go over Walter Amada's head to get him back. And now that he's back, people are finding more things to complain about. Dude, I can't. It's exhausting. So I'm choosing to be excited for this. I can't wait. I hope it's more than just like a 5-second cameo. I want to see some action. Hopefully, again, I have my hopes up for this movie just to have fun, enjoy it. I want to see the crowd react to Henry Cavill coming back. I've been talking about it for so long, I can't believe it's real. Anyways, moving forward, we do know that the Man of Steel is on a collision course with The Rock, and I'm so glad. Just in a recent interview, I don't have it pulled up here, but The Rock actually addressed Shazam. He said that they'll eventually collide, and The Rock is all about setting up these clashes with not only the Justice League, but especially Superman moving forward. And it's good to know that while a Man of Steel 2 was not necessarily announced, but it's being developed right now, and that's something that's actually happening, the eventual collision course with Black Adam, Superman, Justice League is not something that The Rock is actually trying to rush. So one cool thing that you can see from The Rock right here is he responded to some fans and said, "We're taking our time, brother. Don't worry. You can't rush that. Now that we're getting back on track, we play the long game. Appreciate you guys." So it's really cool to see that it's something that he's going to take his time with. Even Danny Garcia has some words to say about it. It says, hopefully they're going to clash at some point, said Garcia, but it's not just about one fight situation. That was never our dream. That does not reward the fans. Fans want to feel the journey between these guys, knowing that these guys exist in the same universe. So there you go. There's some comments from Danny Garcia. They are playing the long game, and I think that's the best way going forward, because obviously The Rock has been saying it. He tries to listen to the fans, but if he's going to listen to the fans a little bit more, he needs to set all of these things up to make it make sense. And hopefully this whole universe doesn't just revolve around The Rock. Hopefully he builds out the DC universe and really puts his love and attention to all aspects of the DC universe going forward. Anyways, that's my ramble on the current world of DC right now. I'm excited to see the movie this weekend. I'll definitely let you know what I think about it. But if you guys have seen it already, please do drop your comments down below without any spoilers, and I'd appreciate that. Thanks, guys. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.